Yeah, you did favorites with
Yeah,
us.
yeah, I'm a
GoPro
Yeah.
start video.
And I
Yeah,
met you
she
at
played yesterday.
Judy's. Yeah, we were talking out on the porch and everything about, weren't you doing? Yeah, you're not the one.
I'm not the
There
one.
was another one.
No, that was
Sorry, we're talking about.
She's joining too.
Oh, she did?
She's joining.
Hi, everybody, come on
She's gonna take
in.
Donna's
Tell you a little bit about the castle and some options going on today. Well, you guys filled that bus. Well done.
Yeah, there's some.
full bus.
I thought I waited till I saw the last person. Well, this is great, and I wonder if we have some locals here because you knew to beat that Georgia summer heat that I feel rolling in already. So we're just ahead of it. Nice.
Yeah, well, come on up here. You're coming up here.
And I see your name tag. Your name is Barbara.
She's our leader.
I'm the one who made the reservation for the 12 of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. All right. Well, if we corresponded at all, my name's Naomi. Well done. Nice job. Hey, Bob.
She represents the group that's celebrating 100 years.
Yes.
Oh, really?
We are.
Yes.
You put me in.
Yeah.
And no, it
Almost
was-
there.
Well, that means
Not far, not far.
None of us started.
No,
Yeah.
we're almost there.
You've
Knocking on the door.
Lacey and I, so we'll soak
Not
up your
far.
wisdom. Well, I noticed your name tag first because you remind me of my aunt, who I adore, and her name is Barbara. So thank you for that
It
little
was a-
memory trigger.
It was the number 2 name back, I'm gonna be 85 in October. It was the number 2 name back in that era.
I see. Well, and I guess
So
that makes
popular.
sense. Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to the castle. I heard from Lacey and Bob that you got a pre-lesson on our name Uhuburg.
Yes.
Okay, what does it mean?
Eagle Owl.
Wow.
Eagle Owl Castle.
Eagle Owl
What was
Castle.
Eagle?
Great, great, great. And we came into the shade. You can see I'm a shade seeker too. I don't have my hat on yet. But right above that red door, either now or later, you can see out. All right. Well, then here's your next quiz question. How many parts are there to our mission of
4.
Uhuburg?
4.
Okay, excellent. So would y'all like to join a tour with Bob today? He's giving the first guided tour today
Yeah.
at 10:30. I think Lacey gave you the heads up.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So
If
he's
you
going to
go
show
ahead and
you.
get
He's the one that
tour over
built
with,
it.
Then we can do our thing on our
Yeah, and on the back side of your brochure, you have this map here, and he's not going to take you everywhere. He's going to point out highlights throughout the grounds with the murals and the architectural features, the gardens, but there's a few spots that are really lovely that you can see on your own suggested route. He's going to drop you off towards well, first of all, we're under building number 2 right now. So we're right here, and this is oriented so you can walk through the gates and hold it in front of you and see that all the buildings are in that orientation. This gray line through here is the brick path that we're standing on, this one here. And right in front of us, this building is that main building behind me. So this perimeter, this outline, is our perimeter wall here, and Bob's going to take you in sections of the lower level. That's where our murals are, has to do with our philosophical mission, his intrigue with all the ways that people have sought to understand the meaning of life. And then the upper level is really lovely and one of my favorite ways to experience the castle, and that part is not part of the tour. But he's going to drop you off over here, and there's 2 ramp entrances up there, and there's other corners that have steps down. Like in this building, you can go up and over. There are some steps involved, but take your time. And from every corner, every tower, there's a different view of the castle and the mountains behind us. From the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, just lovely. So that's one big feature to catch if you are up for it. You can climb our lookout tower after that tour too.
100 and some odd steps, no.
He did put 2 handrails in. He knows he might need it soon too. Take your time. It is that tower there. So if you want to send someone up and have them take a picture for you, that works too. It is 110. Feel free to check my work on
Don't you
that.
have a no-step area where you could just walk the ramp to go
We
over?
do, and that's right here, 8 and 14. And,
Okay.
well, that's for this upper wall.
Okay.
That's not for the lookout
Oh,
tower,
it's
but
not
the
for
upper
the-
wall.
Okay.
Yep, yep. So but yeah, watch your step around, and I'll tag out with Bob. I bet it's his time to be on, so he's been hiding back there.
Yeah, I'm going. Does he live here? Does Bob live here?
No, we have some on-site staff, but he's nearby. Yeah. So maybe someday. Yeah. All right. Any questions right now?
No, it's beautiful.
Oh, I should tell you, since we
Take a
have
picture.
an extra minute, I'm part of the family. I call Bob Dad when we're not working together.
Oh, so you are their daughter?
Yes.
Okay, and I know your mother was a school teacher.
I was.
You were.
I was.
Is there anybody
You'd be
that
great.
can
You'd be
take a
great
picture
with
of
your
our
I
guys?
can. He was just telling my story. We just had our first wedding last Friday here at Uhuburg.
Oh, yeah?
And it was my wedding. I left some decor in the Great Hall so you can see, little glimpses of what it could be if you like funky colors like me. And Lacey was here. She rocked it. Working the back of the house.
Could we stand over here?
Steps support each other.
Sure of how, religion can kind of have this oxymoron of the extreme to kill somebody to be the follower, the redemptive thing that can happen.
So he needs a spirit in that.
That's right. It's a lance. In the original one, he is in one of the 4 alcoves of St. Peter's Cathedral. So, and he does have a lance. Then
Oh,
with
okay.
his-
Yeah.
There's so much in there.
Oh, you don't remember him there? Yeah, there is.
Already?
You bored yet? If you get bored, feel free to just go on your own if you want to. Okay, well, what I've got, we've got over here is New Age. Now, New Age is our youngest religion. It in philosophy, it tends to be started in about the 40s, but it doesn't get kicked in until the 60s when they have that famous song that we are in the age of Aquarius. By the way, that phraseology comes from a psychiatrist, not the group that sings it. And Carl Jung, who also is involved in discussing your unconscious motivations and your collective unconscious, which is familiar kind of conscious, and your disposition for feminine and masculine issues and stuff like that. So he's part of that too. But they're really big on the zodiac and where your stars are and that kind of thing. I don't know how that works. I'm too much of an empiricist. But basically, they think that there's 12 universal laws, little simple things such as, that there's gender, there's cause and effect. We always think of those little physics balls, where you drop one and it hits the other one, and this one pops out, and these others don't even move. Well, the same thing can translate to your social dynamics. Did you ever do something, you wonder, why did I do that? And then you think back, I think Mom did that. And then Grandma,
Yeah.
where she got
Where she
from
said
Grandma,
that.
and no telling how far back, and so that goes. And so, anyway, so those kind of effects there. And they notice patterns. You have the fiddle burn, that kind of flows stuff, but just like the Nautilus has that curly cue.
Yeah.
In mathematics, they can run a kind of a formula that does that too. Anyway, why don't we walk up onto the shade? Japanese Shinto, more recent, I think it's like 1200 years old. And in Shinto, you have some things that we don't know where it came from. But for instance, they believe that part of their mythology is that the 5th generation of deities comes down on this primordial earth, which is all messing up, and sits down on cloud 9. You ever heard of cloud 9?
Yeah.
You always know some bars named after cloud 9. he has the first male and female, and the male has a long lance again, and he's sitting over on this bridge looking at this miry mix of the earth, and he digs down into it and brings up the mud, and the mud falls and makes the islands of Japan.
Wow.
So he and his wife, for lack of a better term, they have three major kamis, or gods, or spirits, depending on how you define kami, but it's what we have a notion of. And the sun god, the moon twins, and the god of waters and storms. But the number one is the sun god. And she is the one that, the sun comes to Japan first, then the rest of the world. They feel pretty privileged that even their flag, we call it the zero, but it's the sun.
Yeah.
The empire of the sun. That's right. Oh, I thought there was a song. And basic, their philosophy is that you need to be in harmony with everything. So you wouldn't be in harmony with your family, and of course your spouse, the ancestors, so then you'll remember great grandma, and your business, your social things, and even nature. So every Japanese with the salt has a garden. Even if they're in a high-rise, they'll have a little garden on a table someplace or on the porch. And they're famous for their major gardens. By the way, we do have a Zen garden over here, so you can sit on that and contemplate the meaning of the universe. And when you figure it out, you come tell me.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens is, you've all seen that when you look at anything on Japan, you see the red torii gates.
Yeah.
Well, that means that there's something special on the other side. We could use the word holy, or just special, or unique, and it could be a bay, a creek, a Shinto temple. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. A Shinto shrine. They don't have temples; they have shrines. And so you can go into that shrine, and one of the things you can do, because we live life, we don't have that harmonious relationship, and so we need to be kind of cleansed about this thing. So we need to wash our hands, and so they have a place, the running water, to wash your hands. Then you can go to the priest, and there's this box that is in the front of all the Shinto shrines, and I had to call up my aunt, who was Japanese. I said, "What is that box for?" And she said, "That's where you put your money in."
Oh.
Then you go in and talk to the priest.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, in Shinto, there is no afterlife. They don't have, a heaven guarantee when you die. That's it. So 75% of the people in Japan are Shinto. Now, only 85% of the people in Japan are Buddhists. Now, of course, they're both.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when you get married, which is a very harmonious kind of a thing, you want to get married in the Shinto temple or a Shinto shrine, I think, because family is important, and you want to be joyous with everybody. But when you die, you go over to the Buddhist temple because they got nirvana.
Oh, okay.
That was like having all the heaven.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come around here just, I want you to notice my 4 statues down here.
Yeah.
They're all archers.
Oh, okay.
All right, this is a little insider tip. When I was a kid, they named me Robert, but my uncle was Robert, my father was Robert. What were they thinking? So the distinguishes, they called my uncle Robert and my dad Bob, and they called me Robert. But when I got to be about 5 or 6, the only people I've ever met that was named Robin were girls. For a 5-year-old, man, that's not too cool. Then I heard about Robin Hood. Whoa! Well, I've had a bow and arrow to this day. I used to make them as and that kind of thing. So those 4 archers represent, eventually we're going to have an archery range on the outside. So that'll be one of 2 martial arts. And my father would On guard. Okay, over here we've got the China represented, and you're welcome to be walking down there on your own. I'll give you the overview. You know, when you think of China, you think of this big country, and they speak what? Chinese.
Man-
Somebody know Mandarin?
Mandarin.
Well,
Mandarin.
this one, but actually there's 600 languages and dialects. And so when we were looking for the stories that they use, you know, there may be 10 different versions of it, which I'll tell you one particular one in a minute. But essentially they thought that the world, the universe was just a dispersal of matter. And eventually the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative start to go together. And it starts making these spheres. And lo and behold, the deities of the times implant one of these with a guy named Pangu. And Pangu spends 18,000 years. Now they love that number 18,000. You'll see it come up in all kinds of stories. But 18,000 years he's in there growing up, and he finally gets up to a size where he starts to push the yin and the yang, the sky and the earth, apart. And he spends another 18,000 years as it keeps accumulating, getting bigger, and pushing it away. Finally he dies, and his blood becomes the rivers, his bones becomes the minerals, his eyes become the sun and the moon, his sweat becomes the rain, his breath is the wind. He's totally absorbed into the earth. So we have an earth, but no people yet. One of the deities is walking around on earth and steps into the thunders of God's footprints. Now this is another fascinating thing about these old legends, is that miracle pregnancies. Walking in the footsteps of the thunder god, this deity, who is has the first pregnancy of a male and female. They're represented by these two figures that have these kind of intertwining tails, but they have all the people of the world come from them, and they're normal people, not these snake tails. So you know that medical sign that's kind of the tails going
Yeah.
like that?
Mm.
Well, that is part of that background. So anyway, so now we have an earth going with people in it, really organized. So the three pure ones, the three pure ones have to come in and intervene. And one of them sets up the ruling group, which is the administration of the world and stuff, and including the Jade Emperor. And the Jade Emperor is the Lord of Heaven. The other one, the second one, he makes all the earth, sets the atoms in the right place, puts the sun and moon in the right place.
GoPro, stop record. GoPro, stop record. GoPro, stop record.
By the way, this is the statue that got the teacher fired in Florida.
David.
Because the teacher
David.
was teaching the Renaissance and had a picture of David, which is the quintessential sculpture of it. And the principal got called in and said that three parents complained about nudity in the classroom. And they fired the principal for not overseeing.
Wow.
But Florence gave her a commendation. I think you're going to trip over here to see the original. This is about 3 times bigger than that one. Okay, just a little side note here. This tree, when it grew, it got up to about this high, and it was about this big around, and it had the humongous leaves on it. It was elephant ears. I mean, they were that big,
Yeah.
and they were all hearts. And I thought, oh, isn't that an interesting thing? I'll have to figure out what this is. Well, it kept growing, and as it got bigger, the leaves got smaller. And we didn't know what it was, but I kind of was intrigued with it. It's about ready to blossom with blue flowers. Those pods have there were just very light seeds in it. There was no nuts in it. But we didn't know anybody know what this tree is? With heart-shaped leaves? It's called the princess tree. Now that I know what it is, I see them on the sides of the road. And they're considered to be partially invasive. Princess tree at a castle, I thought works. And it does really make nice shade too. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to keep it right there, but anyway. Oh, and one of the architectural features here is you see that brace on the side of this tower? Well, the tower itself ends up being right in the middle of the walkway up there, which is the weakest part of the flooring. So what we've done is transfer the weight to the structurally strong corner. And so that takes part of that weight. And in architecture, we call that feature a flying buttress.
Wow.
And of course, during the Renaissance, they perfected that because they wanted to make cathedrals to give you this celestial look experience up there, wow, way up there, like you can see. So, but you have to have it braced some way, so they braced it from the outside with these flying buttresses. Okay, 2 more notes here for you.
Yeah.
Little dog or what?
Yeah. Looks like a little bear, don't it?
I think you're right. I think it is pretty good. A little bear.
Now, we're gonna let you all cool off and then breathe away. Okay. At the beginning, we gave you a rundown on the name. The Uhuburg, which we often write as Uhuburg and then give the translation Eagle Owl Castle. But we also have another byline that we often put on the bottom of it and say Citadel of Epistemology. Now, citadel means fortress. And but epistemology is that field of philosophy that deals with truth and knowledge. So, how do we know truth? In this day and age, boy, all the politics.
Oh my. There is no truth.
And to figure how many people believe the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I usually give people the benefit of the doubt. It's tough these days. So when the zombie apocalypse and all those weirdos come here and we got the doors shut, but if they breach the doors, we have one final defense. And that is the murder hole.
Oh. Right there.
Oh.
Now, when they breach the doors and they get there, we can drop hot oil on them and
Yeah.
in a kindly act of throwing a match on it, let them fry. Okay, our final place here is watch your step here. Let's come out the door for a moment.
Well, I like six. Just stand here. Look at that baby gecko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second thing after your philosophy, we talk about food. And I just love all the different kinds of things you can do. And it's just miraculous to me that you can get this little seed and shake up that ground a little bit, put some garbage in it, and in a few days, oh, it comes up. And if I forget about it long enough, it gets up and I come back, it's got fruit on it. It's going to give me stuff, 100 times more than what I had in it. It's just wonderful. And there's all kinds of unique things too. I, in my lifetime, found that there was several things that I did differently. I have a half acre of muscadine grapes over here.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody asks the question, well, do you make
Muscadine wine.
Wine.
well, when I was about 5, my folks gave me a beer, and I drank it and burped it up into my nose, and it immunized me against alcohol ever since. And carbonated beverages. So I am a juice guy and tea drinker,
Yeah.
essentially. And we got 1,400 pounds of grapes out of it last year, and we make juices and jams, and
Yeah.
our friends make wine and give us a bottle or two.
Yeah.
My wife drinks a little bit of it, and some other friends do too. So I bring my juice, and they drink theirs. And I have the virgin ones, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it also presents problems when I go places, because when I went down to the Caribbean, everybody's looking for the best tasting rum,
Yeah.
and I have to figure out, well, what they have in juices. And I finally discovered this one drink they have down there. It's called soursop. Now, soursop is it's a white-looking drink,
Delicious.
and it's this, man, it's a nectar of the gods. It was just really perfect for me. So that's my drink of choice in the Caribbean. But I found out that they have here that same looking plant, and it's called pawpaw. Have you ever heard of pawpaws?
Yeah.
Some of you have.
Yeah.
And there's even a song, picking up pawpaws.
Pick 'em in your pocket.
Wow, you guys see, you can tell this is a little different group than I'm usually teaching them all. But so we have a pawpaw patch over here, and
Pawpaw patch.
unfortunately they're only about this high right now, and it's been another 4 or 5 years before I actually get a pawpaw. And the reason you don't know much about them is that they actually look like a potato, and green, and have
Yeah.
and it's real white inside. And
Yeah.
but when it
I have to.
ripes, it falls and it deteriorates very quickly, so it isn't commercially viable. So you have to use it right away. Another favorite of mine is sorghum. You know
Sorghum
about
syrup.
sorghum?
Yeah.
Sorghum syrup.
Yes.
Well, I learned about it when I came up to Rabin Gap,
Yeah.
the Kuchu School, as a student, and they have this stuff. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's motor oil. It literally looks like motor oil. And they're taking these yeast rolls, put a little butter on it, put this on it, and it comes out. You know, it doesn't go out like, you know, maple syrup is so runny. You know, this is runny syrup. This comes out, and it is sensational. So, actually, it turns out that sorghum, as a grain, is the 5th most common grain in the world. And it's you've seen it, but you didn't even know. You thought it was corn.
Yeah.
But it's
It's not.
used in silage for animals. It's a very
Yeah.
rich silage and expensive one. They fatten up all kinds of stuff with it. But
Yeah.
it's very nutritious as well. So I've grown that, and you take them. We strip down the cane and run it
Yep.
through a little hand press and squeeze out the juice and get about 20 gallons, and then we put it on the stove and render it down to about 2 gallons of syrup.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 unique ones. You can see up to the tree line is our growing field, and we don't have much there this year because we were trying to get everything else finished. My horticulturist went on to teach school someplace, and so but we have a victory garden down there too, which is the only thing we were able to do this year. Trying to use some of the methods that they, after World War I, farms hadn't gotten worked, and so all the guys so many people died. So there was a shortage of food, and the government was advocating, let's have a victory garden here because we won, but we got to eat. So do it in your backyards, and then it was revived during the Depression as well. And so, and those were just basic things for people to know how to do. So we have that too. And these plots over here is designed to demonstrate what you could do in your own backyard. So you're welcome to walk into our greenhouse, and there's one there that says "Touch Me." Now don't go, just touch it like that, and you'll see it go. Shoo. It's called the sensitivity plant. Isn't life so cool?
How many beehives you got?
Well, I have only one right now, and they're around the back here. I got 4 boxes, but lost 2 this last year, and I had only 3 going into the winter. But we got zapped really hard in December with a deep freeze.
Yeah.
That the highest was 16, and the lowest was -5. And it stayed that way for 3 days. And so no matter how much greenhouse you have, it got cold in there. And the center part was designed to be an orangerium or citrus growing area. And so we lost a whole lot of them. You know, all of the citrus now are grown off of grafts. So you have this very hardy root structure, and then they graft in the fruiting thing. So, and the fruiting could be lemons, it could be oranges, mandarin oranges, and this kind of thing. And so what happened was the growing stock or the fruiting stock wasn't as hardy as the rooting stock. And so those died. And when it came back, we've got the rooting stock, which is no good for anything. You don't know what you're getting actually. But and a few of them did come back. And you can see on the stem where the graft was. And then we have a few new ones. So if you go back there, you can see them. If it's got thorns, that's the root. So, as well. Now, the final story here is how do we get this kind of a greenhouse? Probably not seen one like it, but it's more like a Victorian time. You know, it actually has covering on it and glass and hard. And I actually looked for a company that would make a Victorian type, and they wanted $125,000 for one that's a fourth the size. I thought, well, that's a lot of tomatoes. And so, but I also noticed that they were having garages that you could make for, you know, $6,000 to $7,000. It goes up in a weekend, that kind of thing. So I contacted one and I said, well, is it possible to take one of your 24 by 36 and connect a 20 by 16 on both sides, and then add a little 8-foot 4 by 16 on the front? He said, yeah, we can do that. Okay, can you do it with plastic? Oh, we've never done that before. Let me check with the engineer, and the engineer said, yeah, we can do it. So I had him design it, and then shipped it here. We put it all together and got it for about a fourth the price.
Wow.
Anyway, well, thank you very much. Y'all been very attentive, and any questions, please feel free to ask me or some of the other staff that we have there. Most of them are in the blue outfit. I'm the oddball guy out. And at the end, if you see me, I fill you in on some of the other questions. So.
You did a
Okay.
wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you. GoPro, stop record. John's gonna go up to power if you wanna go with. I don't wanna
It's 11:30.
go. Y'all wanna walk the
What time are we
outside?
supposed to be there?
I don't. I think
Well, I live in Japan. Like, I live in 18, so that just means a lot of the inventions and stuff are cool.
Yeah.
So I already knew about Shinto.
Oh, okay. You're smart, baby. You're smart little lady. Mama, you gotta go to the restaurant for a lady.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to some Native American foods where they believe everything in nature has like a spirit.
Y'all wanna walk around back that way or just?
Let's just walk through the garden.
This place is bigger than I thought it
This is nice.
was. He's
No,
got an apartment.
but it's not finished, so they don't live here right now.
He's got a room for his grandkids. It's called the room. There's some kind of a dragon or something with a head sticking out and a tail on. That's another head. He's got a lot of money spent on this place.
You know,
Yeah, he built it. He and his wife built it. That's his dog.
That's one that's got another one. Yeah, she's red-headed too.
There's some Japanese stuff.
So I figured that, no, that's Chinese.
GoPro record.
That's Chinese. This is the Chinese Taoism.
GoPro stop record. I don't know what that is.
That's the Zen garden.
Oh, okay.
What in the world is that?
Somebody's shooting at something. Shinto. The Shinto religion. Artist Mary Pratt. GoPro stop record.
You know, Japan, like, it's a big thing, the sakura season, it's called, when all the cherry blossoms are in bloom. It's one of their most tourist attracting times. And they have a bunch of festivals and stuff.
GoPro stop record.